I'm not gonna make this video too long, but once again, rest in peace to PnB Rock. If you didn't know this, PnB stands for Pastorius and Baynard Street. I am familiar with those streets, but I'm not going to pretend like I spent a lot of time in Germantown because I was not raised in Germantown. I was raised in Southwest Philadelphia, and I'll call this like if you're familiar with like Northwest Godfrey Avenue, Shelton Avenue. I was raised around there, so I'm aware of Germantown. I did work on the good side of Germantown when I was like 21 at like a bakery for like a couple weeks, but I would get a little nervous, when I would get off the bus on like Stanton Avenue, and I'm not going to pretend like I knew his music, but I was interested in learning about his hardship, and that's really what interests me. I knew of him before he died. Let me just say that. It's no reason I wouldn't know about him because he is from Philly. Because a lot of Philadelphia rappers don't really get a lot of attention like New York does. But I knew of him because he there was like a board. It was I like when someone has a similar experience like me, or they have like a disability or some similar illness going on, I'll read about this person. And PnB Rock was homeless after he was released from prison. He was it was like a board that it was like a post called rappers that were homeless, and he was on this board. And I was looking at his interviews, and all he said was, I didn't have a crib when I got out of prison, and he didn't really talk about it much. And I know he got into some trouble when he was young, and he did like 3 years in prison for robbery. And I did a video on my experience being robbed. So I'm pretty sure he left that life behind. I don't think he was living that life if he made enough money as a rapper. But I'm a little upset because let me say this, man. I got robbed. I had a gun in my face when I was 22, and the one response I say to people, because I got robbed in Frankfurt, man. I was robbed in the Frankfurt section of Philadelphia. And if you know where that's at, you probably tell yourself, it's your own fault for walking in there at nighttime. And my response to people who say that is, well, I'm sorry that I had faith that my own people, I'm sorry I had faith that I'm not going to get robbed by my own people. That's what my response is. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure PnB Rock didn't think like me, but I knew he probably said to himself, I'm sorry that I can't walk in LA without having somebody try to kill me. Because I'm not going to talk about his death. I don't know really the circumstances surrounding it, but I will say this. Why is it that rappers, R&B, because he was a more R&B singer, why is it that they have to pay people to go in cities that they're not from, but anybody else, they can walk and go as they please? I'm in Florida right now, and George Zimmerman has been alive for more than 10 years after this Trayvon Martin fiasco. And where are these gangs and killers and rappers at? I'm not saying you should do any harm to him, because I ain't going to give him, I always want to give my opinion on that case. Like, personally, I think, he was just protecting himself. I'm not justifying the other bullshit he's been accused of, like with beating his wife and, molesting his cousin and everything else. I'm not excusing that, but I'm just saying, if somebody's beating me on the pavement and bang my head against the ground, I have a gun, I'm gonna defend myself. But where are they at? Like, with trying to exterminate George Zimmerman. I'm just saying, if you claim what he did was so wrong and malicious, why aren't you, you know, sending goons out to get him? Oh, I know why. I know why. Because you're scared. It's like you don't have that same energy to go at another person of a different race. I mean, he's been all over the country signing autographs and paintings and giving lectures and speaking events. But PnB Rock just goes to Los Angeles and gets killed. And one day after Tupac was killed in Las Vegas, well, he died of his injuries on the 13th. And I'm really weird with like Wikipedia. I've been looking up just to keep track of things, the deaths of celebrities for the past 5-6 years. So this is like a few days before Mac Miller died, well, after Mac Miller died, and a day before Tupac was killed. All I gotta say is, why is it that as a people, it's like you gotta kill somebody you trying to extort money from, but everybody else can walk free? Darren Wilson can do as he want. I'm pretty sure Derek Chauvin is going to be living to the age of 98 years old when he gets out of prison in like 7 years. But just ask yourself this. Why is it that the so-called oppressor, the so-called racist cop, they live long and healthy lives, but you have to look over your shoulder if you're just a fucking regular 9-to-5 working black person? You got to look over your shoulder. You got to worry about people robbing you. But the real so-called enemy, so-called oppressor, they don't get touched at all. Never heard anything happening. And then just the thing, George Zimmerman was shot at, and he got grazed by a bullet, and the motherfucker missed, and he went to jail for like 20 years. But you know who shot him? A white dude. But just ask yourself this, man. Why can't PnB Rock, people like myself, why can't we just walk where we want to without having things like guns pulled on you or being shot at or being actually shot? Why we gotta worry about things like that?